And it is important to drink plenty of water. So if you don't drink a lot of water on a regular basis, it's a good thing to start just for overall health, but it also will help the patch be more beneficial. And you'll see that the placement, the back of the neck, or below the belly button, they just, for the clinical studies, they had to put them in the same place consistently. That's just a requirement, so you have data to measure, but you can actually put the X39 anywhere on the body. So I'll share my story and then hand it over to Andy and let you take away. So a couple years ago, I had looked at my husband and said, I don't know what's happened, but I feel like I have aged dramatically in the last 6 months. Just all kinds of aches and pains and appearance, just lots of little things. Nothing major, but just lots of little things that I was realizing, oh, wow, I'm about to be 53 and 52, and I'm yeah, is this really what we have to look forward to? And he had noticed the same, and we were both a little frustrated because we felt like we did most things right. We eat pretty well, about 80-20 rule, 80% of the time we make good choices, 20% we totally indulge in cheesecake. And we exercise most of the time. We're not like we were when we were 20, but we stay really active. So we thought we were doing things well, but we could still feel the effects of the aging. And just thought, that's okay, this is the way it is. And Andy reached out and said, hey, I've got something I think you guys should take a look at it. You won't believe what's happened for me. And I'll let him share his story. But and when we heard that, we started to do a little more research. Like, okay, well, we tried, what do we have to lose? And we were shocked that in just the first few weeks, we were sleeping so much better. Joe started to dream again, which he couldn't even remember the last time that he recalled a dream. Maybe he was dreaming, but he didn't remember. My hip pain that had started for whatever reason that could never go away just disappeared. I noticed improvements in my skin. For me, I felt the biggest change in my endurance through the day. Just the ability to stay focused and keep going throughout the day without hitting a major lull. And Joe and I both noticed that we recover a lot faster from our workouts because our bodies are still aging and we're not ready to slow down. But the X39 has definitely allowed us to recover faster and reverse that process a little bit. And we continue to see all kinds of little things that change and then start to share it with others. So I'm going to hand it over to my dear friend that brought us into this world, this supplement, healthy living, holistic lifestyle, just opened our eyes to a whole lot of things many years ago, and then moved to Florida and left us here. But has been so gracious to come back and share, especially in this winter weather. But Andy Hosier, I'll give it to you.
Help me thank Stacy Fletcher. Like, will you please do the intro? And she's like, okay, I will. What's up, guys? Welcome, Craig. Good to see you guys. So, hey, my name's Andy Hosier. Indiana is home. I mean, this is where I grew up. This is where I'm from. I just happen to have a different address now. And so it's good to be back. And so as Stacy said, my story starts, believe it or not, 2 years ago, almost exactly. It was the Friday before Thanksgiving. Literally, it's this Friday. Yeah. So
that's exciting.
Now, what most people don't know is, so I had a shoulder injury called frozen shoulder, and kind of similar scenario. I just caught myself like, why is it that I'm not recovering? Why is it that my body isn't able to recover? Spent some time in nutrition, exercise science, just why am I not recovering? And I was needless to say, I was frustrated. I just couldn't overcome this issue. My shoulder was locked up. I couldn't lift it above my elbow. I couldn't play golf. I couldn't play catch. I was just, it was one of those issues that just seemed like it wouldn't go away. And I tried everything, and it just didn't work. The things that used to work didn't work. I didn't know that my body was declining. I didn't know that half my body's stem cells were dormant. by age 30, right? There's things that I just didn't know. So I was looking at every possible solution. I did ozone shots in my shoulder. I did all kinds of crazy stuff, and I wasn't getting results. And then I walked into an event the Friday before Thanksgiving, and my buddy Ken was there. He's a CrossFit guy. If you know any CrossFitters, you know he's got some injuries, knee, hip, and back, and he's talking. My friend Ken is talking to my friend Kevin over there about how much better he's recovering, and I happen to be walking by the way, this is the power of telling your story. I happen to be walking by and I go, whoa, what are you talking about? And I thought for sure he was gonna say, I'm taking this pill, I'm drinking this drink, something, you know, is helping me recover. And he goes, I'm wearing this sticker. And I go, are you kidding me? What? And, you know, I said, well, does it work? And he goes, it's amazing. And I go, why have I never heard of this? And he said, well, it's new. I mean, look around the room. This is new, right? And so I bought, you know, one of these packets. This is a 30-day supply. Bought it, brought it home. My wife thought it was humorous that I bought some stickers, you know, and I said, I don't know, we need to check this out. This is kind of cool. I started using it the day before Thanksgiving, the Wednesday before. I've been using this for 5 days. I stopped in the mirror and I did one of these in the mirror and I realized I'm totally right-handed, by the way. So that happened to be my right arm, and I shot it straight up in the air for the first time in 14 months. And I was like, that's crazy. Because all I did was I put a patch on, right? My body had started the resetting process. So I flew into Indianapolis, I drove to Kokomo, you know, the next day's Thanksgiving. My mom's got scoliosis, rotating scoliosis, so I'm like, Mom, you gotta try this. My sister shows up, she's got a shoulder injury. I go, sis, you gotta try this. I go to Thanksgiving, my cousin has some, like, you know, sleep and just anxiety issues. I go, Kurt, you gotta try this. Before flying out, I left some with my buddy Larry. I go, you gotta try. You know, it's just people, when I started hearing all this and I go, well, if this can help your body reset and recover, this is extraordinary. Now, I was just a customer when I did that, right? But it was the story of my friend Ken that inspired me to try it, and my story that inspired me to share it. And then it was their story, my mom, my sister, my mother-in-law, my cousin, my wife, you know, my friend Larry. All of a sudden, it was all these stories that inspired me to really pay attention, if that makes sense. So it's the stories really are super powerful. Steve, well, I'm gonna hold your story off here for just a minute. I'm gonna ask Greg, would you mind sharing your story on X39?
I don't mind.
Yeah, so Greg just snuck in the back, so go, hey, yeah, just stand up or,
Okay.
you know, come up front,
Okay, yeah.
whatever you feel like. Because, so all of a sudden, you're gonna hear all of this, and you might already have people like that you think about, right? Well, I thought of my friend Stacy and her husband Joe, because he was in construction. And he was flooring, he's like a flooring guy, right? So he'd get down and get up and knees and hip and back for a long time. I've known he's had an injury. So I go, my gosh, I think this could help. I thought of Rob, because he's in and out of crawl spaces and attics and just all kinds of crazy stuff. He's had some back scenario, right? And I go, hey, Rob, I thought of you, right? Well, Greg, this is a pretty amazing story. I've known Greg for a long time, but I didn't know how severe he was struggling. Would you mind sharing your story?
I don't mind. So, funny, Andy showed you, he noticed his arm, he raised his arm up when he was, you know, sprucing his hair. He actually posted a picture on Facebook, on his stories, and he said that I'm doing in-home stem cell activation therapy. I'm trying to get that together, but that's what it was on his.
I don't even know what I said.
Yeah, but anyway, I saw a Facebook post. So I had been, and he didn't know, I had actually been getting some quotes for stem cell injection treatment because I was trying to avoid a hip replacement surgery. And that one injection, I got a quote, was like $7,500, and I asked him about some other things that I wanted to do. Altogether, it was like $25,000. And so in my mind, I'm like, I've got to figure out how to afford this because I want to avoid a hip replacement. And so when I saw Andy's post, I immediately was like, tell me what this is and what are you doing? He asked me for my address and said, I'm going to send you some samples. And next thing I know, I got started For 90 days, I didn't really notice anything. I was actually wearing it on my hip. But after 90 days, I went in for a pre-op x-ray, and the doctor showed me where I was bone on bone. So I had been bone on bone in my left hip and my right hip. It was severely deteriorated. I had double degeneration in both hips. And he actually recommended that he give me a double hip replacement. So that's what this is all about. Fast forward 90 days, I go in for the pre-op x-ray. All my cartilage had grown back, and the hole that I had in my socket was actually redeveloping. But I'd been in pain for 2 years, and I said, just go ahead and replace this hip. But in the meantime, he tells me just expect to come back in about 4 months or so, and we'll get ready for the other hip replacement. And between then and that 90 days, 4 months, this hip has completely regenerated itself. And so there's so many other things that have just been like a locomotive in my body. I started having knee issues. I could barely bend down without feeling like my knees were gonna explode. Now I can bend all the way down on the ground and work on my knees and have no issues. I had head inflammation, and it's just amazing. I have a picture now when I bought my motorcycle helmet 2 years ago. It fits snug, I put it on, and even today, it's just extremely loose on my head just because I was dealing with an inflammation condition that I didn't know that I had. So it's just been phenomenal, and I feel great, and thank you, Andy.
I love it. I love it. Good job.
Yep.
So, and keep in mind, this isn't designed to treat or heal or cure bad hips or messed up shoulders or Joe's back or Joe's knee, right? Like this is designed to help your body specifically with recovery. And I think, would you guys mind sharing, Jay and Peg? Would you guys mind sharing your X39 story? Because this is just it impacts, imagine, it can impact literally anybody. I'm going to share my son's story here in just a second, but would you guys mind sharing?
Go ahead.
The Jay Bronco.
We can almost get out of the chair.
All right.
I don't want to pull you over. I need your help. Yeah. So, hello.
Hello.
Good to see you all. Yeah, I was suffering for 20 years of heartburn. And this guy right here, I don't think he knew what the patches even did, but somehow he was willing to let us have a few we still owe him. But anyway, we know that, Alan. And gosh almighty, we didn't know what they did or anything, but we put them on anyway, because that was what, years ago, I guess.
Year and a half.
Year and a half. August of 23, 8, 9 to be exact. I started wearing the patches, and crying out loud, about 5 days after I put on the patch, Peg asked me, how's your heartburn? I said, I don't have any heartburn. In 2 days, I would be bent over if I didn't take my pills for heartburn. It wasn't any fun. So I tried never to miss my pills. But I missed them for 5 days, and I didn't have heartburn. Woo!